So there are a couple of things, but the first thing is to have this structure in place. You know, people do want to understand what is the process or how do you function, even though it's an intuitive process. Most questions come across as, how are you going to go about with this? How does this really work? This person lives about an hour and a half away from my working place, and in about 15 minutes of getting out of this session, okay, I get a message that I got a call and there is a breakthrough that's happened. And thank you so much. That's the most pertinent
That's where
question.
it comes down to, right? Do I really
Yeah.
want to make a shift?
Because some people are very comfortable in not wanting to shift and living that story. It's a narrative we give ourselves, and any narrative we've given before can be changed today and tomorrow. Funnily, it has been soul magic and soul magic. And the second name I had thought was the last question, the last two words you used was sacred space.
Okay.
So you've used both my words, but soul magic is what it has been. You're really saying, if I could walk through this fire effortlessly, easily, then I'm able to overcome anything in my life. So, what feels very far fetched, I can achieve. Apart from that, firework has been used in ancient traditions. India, there is a lot of places firework is used outside temples for creating meta shifts, for accessing the divine energy. You work on the shamanic processes. So, fire is something that brings you warmth as well, or it can burn you.
Hi, and welcome to Soul Velocity. I am Snehal Singh, your host, and I'm excited to take you on this incredible journey where we tap into the wisdom of entrepreneurs, authors, and creative visionaries, people who are transforming the world in ways we cannot even imagine. As the name suggests, soul velocity is all about finding that pivotal direction for your soul, mind, and body. A place where deep, real conversations ignite the fire to keep you moving forward. Right now, I'm thrilled to bring you a special series called as Voices and Verses 100 Authors and Countless Stories. This series is all about celebrating the writing world, connecting with authors, publishers, marketers, entrepreneurs, screenwriters, playwrights, and filmmakers who are shaping the stories that inspire us all. Through these conversations, my goal is to encourage aspiring writers, support seasoned authors, and spark new ideas that can inspire you to take you on your own creative journey to the next level. Whether you're here to learn, connect, or simply just enjoy some amazing stories, you are in the right place. Let's dive in together. Welcome back to another episode of Soul Velocity, where we explore the stories, wisdom, and journeys that inspire us to live aligned and soulful lives. Today, I have someone truly special joining me, Shilpa Kanungo. She is a transformational coach, healer, founder of SoulMagic, and what makes her extraordinary is how she blends the precision of the corporate world with the depth of ancient spiritual wisdom. From training thousands of professionals to guiding seekers through healing journeys, from firewalks to angel healing, Shilpa has touched countless lives with her work. And today she's here to share her journey, her magic, and a message that she carries so beautifully. Everything is magic, including our existence. So let's get ready for a soulful conversation that moves from practical to mystical and maybe even surprises us with a little fun along the way. As Shilpa herself beautifully says, that everything is magic, including our existence. And that's what our today's conversation is all going to be all about. So we'll dive into the world of magic, healing, transformation, stories, understanding the corporate grind, soulful path, and everything. So, Shilpa, first of all, thank you so much for being here and being an integral part of my journey too, because it's been over a decade or nearly 2 decades now that we have known each other and we have seen each other evolve, and you have probably seen my entire journey too. So first of all, thank you for being here, choosing to give us your time and just spreading your magic.
Thank you, Snehal, for having me. And I know, like, as you said, it's always been beautiful to be with you, to see you grow, parallel journeys, of course. but also do a lot of work with you. It's always been a very beautiful journey. And I look forward to having dialogues with you online, offline. Uh, each time there is something that just emerges for both of us. And that's very fantastic. And that's what I say, that because there is magic, everywhere in our existence, in our inner being, when two people come together with like-mindedness and pure intention, there is double or triple magic that starts to unfold in life. And each time we've experienced that together collectively. So thank you for having me over once again. I love having these conversations with you. It brings me a lot of joy.
Absolutely, and I'm so ready to dive in. So let's just start right, probably at the very scratch of everything. Like, what was that moment of truth for you, Shilps, when you realized that the boardrooms weren't enough for you and you had to follow the call of your soul?
So there are multiple factors, that got me to this phase. But if you recall, before I there was a sabbatical I had taken for a year in between when I was in my corporate career, to question my life, to question where I want to be, and I thought I'm just running around and I want to go within and find certain answers. So during that sabbatical was the initial glimpse that I started to recognize more about uh, what I want to give back to the world, what I want to do for myself. Until then, it was a journey of what I want to do for myself, truth be told. But also, I'm going a little backwards. In my early teens, I was exposed to this book. And when I was reading this book, is the day I had made this prayer that someday I want to make that shift in people's life. I want to contribute and give back. Everything collectively, one dot, second dot, sabbatical, came back, took a 1 year's job again. Parallelly, my spiritual journey had activated consciously. I was seeking people, wanting to learn things and integrate that into my daily life. That one day, we always say you've put a seed, and you just wait for it to grow in its own space and time. And one day there was this bloom, and a lot of it I've spoken even in my earlier, also in different conversations. But there was this one tipping point where I was sitting one day in the evening, and there was this voice, which I call my master's voice, said, it's time. You wanted to do this all along. I'm getting goosebumps as I say this once again. Quit and start doing and serving, you know. And that is the day I said, okay, enough. I have to make this shift and now give back whatever little things I had collected with my meditations, but from my mentors and teachers. Now was the time to go out and spread the message. So it was a overnight flip. I woke up saying, am I really going to do this or not? But they say that if the intuition is guiding you, and you're someone who wears your heart on the sleeve, then you don't think, you just believe that that same divinity or the guidance will create further pathways for you. So I took that plunge in an overnight journey.
I was so about to say that that's such a sign of an intuitive person because it's all about, just taking that leap of faith, jumping in and going ahead. Uh, Journeys, okay, while we have been on this journey of, self-exploration and helping others also explore themselves and find themselves in soul purpose, as we say, there is a reason for everything, and things happen for a reason is what is something that we hear a lot of times. Okay, so looking back, how did and the reason I'm going to the corporate world a bit because I know it has been a while ago for both of us. Yet there is a huge amount of people that I'm currently coming across who do belong to corporate world and are unable to make that shift. Whether they feel that the calling is there, but then I'm not sure how do I go about it. And as you
Mhm.
said, we do need mentors, coaches, guides who are telling us, or even books, through which mentors speak. So looking back, how did your corporate chapter prepare you to hold the space for deep healing later on?
So one thing we learned in corporate, and I personally learned, was so there are a couple of things, but the first thing is to have this structure in place. You know, people do want to understand what is the process or how do you function, even though it's an intuitive process. Most questions come across as, how are you going to go about with this? How does this really work? So corporate helped me have that structure, that detailing in place. And my last job, there was this constant statement that used to be there, that change is constant in life. I think that really prepared me that change is constant and you have to embrace change and be creative at any given point of time. That was one thing. Second was at one point I was into customer facing industry. Okay. So how do you interact with people? How do you create an interpersonal skill? That was another thing that really helped me work in my spiritual journey. There is a structure, there is a way to communicate, and very interestingly, no jobs. They always say that everything happens for a reason. And there was this one particular job where I was into, where I was literally training, but also learning how do you become better with your communication.
Right.
And that is something that helps you in your spiritual journey because you need to articulate your intuitive guidance into a certain way. And we say that you work with the map of the world of the other person. So that really helps you to use that particular language, that phrase, to align, resonate, and build a rapport as well. And all of that really helps you with your corporates.
I love the way you put it across. And I think I would rather say the same thing. So while I knew that I always loved my freedom and wanted, to do what I wanted to do, if if it hadn't been for the corporate world, I wouldn't have been the way I learned to organize myself or stuff like that. So totally true.
Yeah,
Again,
also, workshops and trainings, because that's also my background of training. It completely helped me create modules. If there's an intuitive guidance, Shilpa, go ahead and do this workshop. Then if had I not had this backup, is what I personally feel, or skills, I would have not been here. So now it becomes very easy. Oh, this is how you deliver. This is the content. This is the process. This is the expertise I have, and can I bring this on the table? So it's an amalgamation of both the world.
true, true, absolutely. And you do see, training is one of the backgrounds that you have, but when it comes to modalities, I think whether it is Reiki or whether it is Akashic records or past life regression therapy or dream therapist or angel channel or a yoga therapist too, access bars, EFT you master as well, and you're a certified coach as well. So there are so many tools, and these are just few that I'm naming that I'm aware of, and I'm sure there are more and many more to it. So how do you make an intuitive decision of what exactly does a client need here?
So, of course, what I really work with is that I get onto a pre call, and I really ask them, what is it that you are seeking? What is the outcome you are looking at with whatever the challenges or conversations or guidance they are seeking? And that then starts allowing me to say, okay, I have so much in my kitty. What is it that I can offer? And how do I work with different sessions with them? So that really helps. Sometimes somebody is, you sometimes meet left brain people and you just want to do pure coaching with them. And sometimes you will meet people who are like, oh no, but I want to have a hands on healing. And this is the health challenge I'm going through. And that's where an EFT or a Reiki really helps when you're talking about distance healing as well.
Correct.
And working at a complete auric energy and then coming into the physical body. Someone comes up and says, I have multiple challenges and a pattern is repeating. So, of course, there are diagnoses done over a conversation. And then, okay, then here is where the past life regression really steps into the picture. Can we work through hypnosis and the subconscious and make changes? Um, yeah. So it again depends, but it's a very personal conversation, understanding it on the call over the diagnostic and the challenges they are going through. And what is the outcome? Begin with the end in mind.
Yes.
What are you really seeking? And then I start working. See, I'm going to draw a parallel with our kitchen. In kitchen, you have multiple tools. You don't bring them all out, whether it's a ladle or a spoon or a fork. You use exactly where it's needed in what context. So it is very contextual, of course. And second is I sit to meditate and I ask this question to my inner self. How else can I guide? And so apart from the structure, there is always an intuitive side that comes along with this.
True. Any story or experience, of transformation that you have seen when someone else, uh, especially when I'm talking about inner child, when someone truly embraces their inner child, and the heals, or the healing that they receive. So, any experiences or stories, whether about that or past life regression, where you know, you can share how does this journey actually help someone heal?
So, so there's one that with I'll start with past life. It's been a very recent event, and there's this person who had one of the concerns this person had was around an estranged relationship with an old friend. Okay, and it's been years they've not spoken, and wanted to know from the soul's level that what was the purpose of this contract and what had really happened and how can they really work through this journey. um, and we did an entire regression. We worked with the guides and we went to a level where we could find the answers. And that point, there was a guidance that came through that, two people, their higher self show up and work with forgiveness.
Mhm.
Okay. And we did all of that. We integrated in multiple answers that emerged for the person that the person was seeking. What was very amazing for me is that uh, this person lives about an hour and a half away from my working place. And in about 15 minutes of getting out of this session, okay, I get a message that I got a call and there is a breakthrough that's happened. And thank you so much. And I was like, wow, this is sometimes something that this happens. And there was another incident where the relationship was estranged with the father. The lady just gets down from my place, and by the time she starts a vehicle to move forward, the call from the fathers comes through.
Interesting.
So this is very fascinating for me how this works. Of course, there's consciousness and the resonance field where you've made peace. But yeah, these are two I will share. There's much more. Yeah, you wanted to say something. I'm sorry,
I wanted
please.
to ask a question. It's a little probably a follow-up for what you said. So very recently, I came across, I would not say multiple individuals, I would say a family because all individuals belong to the same family. And they wanted to do past life regression. They did go book an appointment. First, the mother went in, and apparently nothing happened. Like, couldn't travel, couldn't did receive anything, and came back saying it just didn't work for me. So now the son went in to check if he can access, because he was also going through a troubled time, and he didn't receive anything again. Okay. And the same happened with the sister. And this happened over like 7 8 months, because the sister was staying somewhere else. She came in and she was like, let me give it a try if I receive anything. But none of them were able to go through the journey. Does that happen in past life regression?
Oh, in my so many years of work, I haven't come across this. It could be a couple of things. The family may be or may not be prepared, or there may be a subtle underlying fear that what if something shows up, and so I have a lot of clients who do say that, what if I'll get stuck in my past? What
Hmm,
if something shows up that I'm unwilling to see? So if you're not permitting, you may say that consciously I'm willing to do that, but subconsciously you're holding it back. So then you have to do a little bit of work and get an understanding. Therefore, a pre-call really matters and trying to understand. I haven't really experienced this so far, so I'm not in a place to comment around this.
interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there will be a glimpse, there will be a certain answer. It may not be and a lot of people, Snail, also come with an expectation or an anticipation that I'm going to see.
Huh.
So we have five senses. You
True.
see, sometimes you can feel, you can hear, it's a thought. And that's a preparation also one must do with them, that we don't know is it what is going to activate for you in that journey of yours.
True. Interesting. So okay, you do Akashic records too, right? So
Right.
do Akashic records give you information about your lives, or is it a healing modality too? Because I'm kind of confused now, as many people say that Akashic records is a healing modality too, and I had a different understanding of it, where it was more of the Hisab Kitab book, which tells. So what is your take on Akashic records and healing Is it connected, not connected?
So what I've understood of Akashic records is one of the gifts that really showed up through the journey of meditation. But it is most often a library. Akasha means ether, and you're really opening a library of a person from the spiritual world where there are multiple books or stories or files, whatever we want to call it as, starts to show up for us. Most often, you'll be given only that much information that is going to help the person move forward in the current situation. Some answers do reveal, of course, for me, because I get this information and I have also a lot of healing modalities that I have worked with. Later on, we work with that healing. You combine that, you
Right.
know. But again, any guidance, sometimes the guidance may come, do this to create the shift. Is it purely for healing?
Not.
Not completely. Yeah, you just get the answers you are seeking to figure out. It's a map. Where should I go right? Should I go left? Is there a speed breaker on the way? And how do I really move forward in life?
Perfect. Before I go to our,
Let me, 1 second. You wanted to know about inner child.
yes.
Okay. So there's this person we were working with, and the person couldn't conceive. Everything was medically fine. Okay. Um, and through the journey and work, we realized that there's some kind of inner child that needs to be worked with. There was a certain trauma. Uh, and as we worked with this very beautifully, in about couple of months' time, for a person who's struggling to conceive for many, many, many years, the person had conceived very beautifully because that inner child that needed to be held in a sacred space, and the inner child had to be told that you're very safe and it's all good. So this is a very extreme situation of not being able to conceive connected to inner child and to be able to have your own child, but also personality shifts with a lot of inner child work, the fears that we hold on to, or that little voices that goes in our head, you're not good enough is a very common thing we'll hear a lot. Um, that also starts to shift and create a lot of confidence in life, and one knows how to move forward and take charge of oneself.
Um, so just a question that popped up in my mind. Okay. Um, do you think, and this is again coming from experience that I'm asking, do you think that at times people also need to move past the thought of, as a child, I did not get this. So there is no inner child healing work that is actually done, but there is a lot of using it as a escape point and saying life has always been like this. I never got this. I can't do this. So what is something that you would like to say, especially to individuals who generally get stuck in that loop of the story of this was my past and therefore my future cannot change?
Yeah, so we are a product of our thoughts and we are a product of our experiences. Our attitude creates all this shift. If I stay with the belief system that, this because I went through this, I can never get there, it's a limiting belief I have.
True.
So you not necessarily need to have to go through healing, but at least become aware and mindful of the language and the thoughts and the statements you're giving yourself day in and day out. And
Lovely.
again, as we sometimes say, that you can choose to be in a victim mode or a victor mode. You either sit down and say, why this happened to me, and sit in, I'm not taking away the genuine pain. Okay,
True.
everybody does have a certain story, good, bad, ugly, and it can hold you back. But now my way of working this, and when I started to create that shift, I didn't know any healing therapy, nothing of sorts. Okay, the and I get, it's funny you mentioned this, but I remember in my earlier years, I was just, why me, God, why me? And, I'm doomed and things can't really move forward for me. Until one day, a penny dropped. One was, if not me, then who? And second, now that this has happened, what can I do? And what is it that I want to create in my life? And what actions and choices do I start doing that aligns with it?
True.
So the shift is also, first of all, ask yourself, do you really want to make the shift? That's the most
I think
pertinent
that's where
question.
it comes down to, right? Do I really
Yeah.
want to make a shift?
Because some people are very comfortable in not wanting to shift and living that story. It's a narrative we give ourselves, and any narrative we've given before can be changed today and tomorrow. These
True.
are the choices we all can make for our own lives.
Agreed. I'm so loving this conversation. I'm going to take you back to the boardroom again because you are, someone that I know who has taken spirituality to boardrooms. Okay. And with time, I've seen corporates also changing. Like these kind of conversations used to not happen in a corporate environment, but now at least meditations or, at least an initiation of that has started. So, when spirituality enters boardrooms, what shifts did you notice in leaders, teams?
So, one, you become a conscious human being. And what we right now need is a lot of empathy, compassion, and connections. Yes, it is work, but the other person is equally a human,
True.
and to understand that space and to work with. So, I've been noticing and observed a couple of things as courage, compassion, a shift in the way, better teamwork. And so how is, the thought that's always occurred in my mind is how is spirituality different from the corporate world? Because spirituality is a very integral part of who you are. We say the mind, body, and spirit. It is not a separate topic or a conversation that you say, okay, सुबह में 15 मिनट में बैठ गई मेरा हो गया ये now let me go out there. It is something, the energy that you carry forward with you throughout the day. So a
True.
lot of congruency, alignment, and integrity starts to walk in when you acknowledge, embrace, and start working from that paradigm. So it becomes more cooperation, collaboration versus um, disconnects and not so healthy competitions. So this is something I've noticed, that and people are becoming vulnerable and working through that journey, and some beautiful shifts we've noticed, very beautiful shifts, that uh, you become a holistic person. You're not now fragmented or playing one role here, one role here. We all have roles to play, but how consciously, how much intensity you want to play where, that starts to align and balance much more for an individual.
I love that. Uh, I'm going to talk about something that spoke about just before we started recording this. This is my observation, and I may be completely wrong here, but while we see a lot of open conversations happening about spirituality, and we see so many reels and content being put out there, whether it is about god, goddesses, different kinds of energies, and so on. Uh, I sometimes feel that there is so much information out there that while it is supposed to liberate us, because knowledge does liberate us, wisdom does liberate us, I feel sometimes it is also setting in fears and beliefs that are not needed. Okay, so for example, like we were talking about, not so good intentions about people, or nazar, which is something on which so many reels are like, you scroll one and then they are like just there abundantly available. uh, for people who are listening to these kind of content and kind of shifting the way they operated from moving from confidence to now fear, okay, where they didn't believe into it, but now believing into it is not actually being productive, what would you say is one shift in their thought or in their way of life they can make so that these things don't affect them?
One, that we are giving the power to someone else over our lives and over our thoughts. How is that possible? And when you have faith, I truly believe fear and faith cannot live in one room. It's not possible. So learn to have that belief in oneself, faith in the higher power or divinity or your own self, but work through that. How, I remember this years ago because I had this little fear. And I would say, they're going to watch over me and something will go wrong in my life. And I told you about this book that really shifted my life, the way I started to think. And in that, there was very beautiful statement. And that if God is with me, who can be against me?
True.
And with God, all things are possible. I'm protected by my higher self. You don't want to say God, say my higher self. I'm protected by my own abilities and skills, and that created a lot of shift. Um, I had something to say, but it's just kind of slipped up from my mind right now. And that happens, I'm guessing so.
Yes.
But or take your power back, tell I don't give you the power over how you think and feel about me.
True.
So everything is a product of our thoughts. Once again, I will say what you think is what you manifest. What you sow is what you're going to blossom. If you start thinking that, this person is buri nazar lagai or this person is saying something wrong about me, you're constantly looking for signs and manifestation around this. You see this happen. This is the sign. So signs can come in both ways.
Right.
Or what you seek is what you're going to attract. And knowledge, something very beautiful you said, okay, knowledge. We all have so much knowledge out there. But knowledge के साथ विद्या एक wisdom होती है, ज्ञान होता है. वो discernment, वो विवेक होना बहुत जरूरी है. You need to have that discernment, what to take in, what not to take in. And sometimes, even any world, whether it's our teachers, whether it's spiritual, whether it's corporates, sometimes we put our authority people on a pedestal. And then that voice becomes a voice for us. Instead of saying, okay, this could be so, but let me check in. Is it really my truth?
True.
And that voice starts to trouble us and we start believing कि नजर लग गई है या ऐसा कुछ हुआ है. तो नजर लगी है तो खुद की नजर बदल के खुद को अच्छा कर दो. इट्स अबाउट शिफ्ट इन पर्सपेक्टिव. नजर ही लगी है, आप नजर बदलो. चेंज योर पर्सपेक्टिव, and stand up for yourself.
I love that. And thank you for, putting it out so unfiltered because at times we choose not to talk about it or we talk too filtered that it becomes again a search of how do I make it happen. And as you said, everything comes down to your thoughts, okay? Yad bhavam tad bhavati. I am who I think I am. And everything actually does come down to that. All right. Before we move to the fun element of rapid fire, one more question for you. For anyone who is listening in, okay, who feels either lost or disconnected, okay, what is one simple practice that they can start today to shift that?
My favorite is look into the mirror and say it's going to be a gorgeous day. I'm connected with myself. I love myself, and we are all unique. So I have those gifts and abilities to go out there and make a shift. But something very beautiful I recently came across, or it was more like a superimposition and validation. Before you sleep, just say, tomorrow is going to be a wonderful day. And as you wake up, just say, it's going to be a wonderful day. And I have everything within me to make it wonderful.
Wonderful.
And another one, oh God, there's so much. Uh, my favorite in earlier years used to be, I'm God's favorite child, and मुझे कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. God is going to open the pathways for me. Recently, I came across a very beautiful line. It's staying with me. I'm still working with it. I bear a charmed life. So everything is good in my world. Second, if you are disconnected, tune in. What am I not listening to? I keep saying all answers lie within us. Magic is within us.
True.
So tune in. What is it that my inner body, my inner voice is telling me that I need to listen to and I am not adhering to? A message is a message, but till it is not opened and read and done something about it, is not going to work. So take that action when the message is also coming to you.
I love the charmed life part.
Yeah, I bear a charmed
That's
life.
my takeaway for today.
Yeah, it just tinkled, or let's say it rang a bell in my ears when I read that. I was like, wow, I'm going to use this. I'm going to write it everywhere and literally make it a part of my multiple affirmations and prayers that I offer. I said, this is going to be a part of my life.
Beautiful. All right, moving to a little bit fun factor where I'm going to ask you a question and you're going to give the first answer that comes to your mind. Okay.
Done.
I don't have a lot of questions, just quick, short, and easy. All right, the first one, your first call, angels or Akashic records?
Angels, because they make me access Akashic records.
If you could banish one thing forever, fear, doubt, or procrastination, which one would you choose?
Fear, because it's false evidence appearing real. Fear, fear, fear.
Coffee with your higher self. I know the answer. I'm still going to ask. Coffee with your higher self or tea with your inner child?
Coffee with all versions of me.
What's your guilty pleasure after a long day of the work that you do, healings and tuning in and downloads and so on?
Wow, didn't really think about that. I do different things at different times, but it's cuddling up to cats and getting in your tub and just listening to good music considered as a guilty pleasure.
Yes, they are.
Then it is so. Then it is so. Then it is so. Then it is so.
A book that is on your bedside table right now.
Uh, it's just right here. Telepsychics.
Psychics. Yes.
I've just started reading this book these days.
If magic were a color for you, what it would be?
The instant color that popped out for me right now was this violetish with a lot of star sparkles in it. That's the color that popped out. I never thought about this, but thank you for asking this question. That's the color that's popping before my eyes right now.
Beautiful. One myth about spirituality you secretly enjoy debunking.
That there is a separate, special, elite segment who are very spiritual. I think all of us are spiritual as long as there is mind, body, and spirit. Each one of us is spiritual. And I really think that's not a separate journey or you're not spiritual and there is no club for it. We are all one and we all fit into that bracket.
Beautiful. If not soul magic, what would you have named your sacred space?
No. Funnily, it has been soul magic and soul magic. And the second name I had thought was the last question, the last two words you used was sacred space.
Okay.
So you've used both my words, but soul magic is what it has been.
Um, I think that's what it has been forever because I have your name saved in my phone, which starts with
Yeah.
Soul Magic for God knows how long. So
Yeah, I was
embodying.
thinking about this and when did this really start? And I remember when I was introduced to EFT and when I was helping others with tapping, and my word used to be, see, magic. Things are getting better. Of course, there is science and there is energy work, but
That's
the instant word that would go, see, magic happened, you're healed, you're fine, move forward. That started to stay with me that, oh, there is magic. If she taps you, and I remember someone saying that there's something off about this girl. She does this and things starts to work for her. And she does magic, but not in a very positive way. And then I introduce them to the concept of aligning the energy. So yeah, actually, it's been soul magic and nothing else. Yeah, true.
true. If and I want to move to one more question before we, kind of close today's conversation. If you could leave our listeners with one mantra for living like a soulful, magical life, what would that be?
I am magic and I expect miracles every day. Every day. I'm magic.
Love that. Anything else that you want to add or say before we move to the closing?
No, I'm going to ask you for your soulful mantra.
My soulful mantra right now is everything is easy, natural, and effortless. And if you're in alignment, everything works out for you. So, uh, be in alignment.
Yeah. And that's what I say, ask, attune, align, and become aware and take that action accordingly.
This the core of that still lies, Shilps, is in knowing that in alignment there is magic, and people got to believe in magic for magic to happen in their life. When you're
Absolutely.
constantly questioning how did this happen, okay, my funda in life is don't ask questions when things are working out for you. Like, why did it
Absolutely.
accept it?
Absolutely.
It's working, right? Say thank you, move on, and do what
Completely.
next miracle you can create. And it does, kind of hurt me at times when people say I don't believe in magic, I don't believe in miracles, because I'm like, you just have it like right there. You just have to when it will happen. So yes, and for that alignment is necessary. So before I reach the magic part, I think alignment is something that I want to keep working on. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm taking a step backwards. Is that okay? Awareness. What am I thinking? What am I feeling?
Yes.
Where did I have this belief system?
And yeah, so that's where how we make sure that our cars go for alignment every 2 to 3 months and we are checking
True.
on it and we are
True.
aware of it. Okay.
True.
Can we just start doing that for ourselves? Like just checking
Absolutely.
what is my bag of beliefs that I'm carrying? What is my goal? Where am I reaching? And am I living an aware life towards it? Most of the
Absolutely.
times we just keep saying or talking about our goals, dreams, desires, and we just say it out loud, but we're not being aware of, am I actually going towards it or away from it?
True.
And that's where that alignment of, can you just, yes, it is not our pattern so far. Okay, we are learning to create a new pattern, but that new pattern can
Absolutely.
be created by continually aligning yourself the way you do for everything. I think we do that for everything. We do it for our house, our homes, our cars, our all equipments, even phone for that matter. You keep cleaning your phone every single day.
And charging it and checking the apps and releasing what is no longer needed. End of the day we check lights band kar li, sab theek hai ki nahi.
Exactly.
So why can't, I mean, which I invite, take that 5-10 minutes end of the day and just do a quick check in what needs to be cleansed, what worked so beautifully that I can continue to take it forward to my tomorrow.
And what needs a switch off before you go to sleep?
Absolutely.
There is like energy matters, and if you're looking at the energy that you can just see, there is other energy also that exists. So yes, for me right now it is alignment, which will help somebody catapult to reach the magical level. But yes, I think somewhere knowing that, as you said, for me the journey initiation part came down to when I heard the dialogue from someone on TV where he said, "You are a child of God and you're always protected." I'm like, please. Okay, it went to that point of questioning, saying, really? If
Am
so,
I?
that happened? Yeah. And then that's where the journey began to find answers. But yes, thank you for asking that. Um, one last question. Again, this is just because it popped up and I would want to talk about it. Uh, since there are a lot of myths about the firewalk and how we do it, and it has been there. Like I am aware of firewalks for over 15 years minimum that I am aware of. Okay. Yet I see that most people are neither aware of it or nor what magic it creates. Would you like to just add a little in terms of what is the intent? Like, what is Firewalk all about, and how does or what transformations does it bring into one's lives?
So it works on meta transformation level, but again, it comes back to belief systems and mind. It's basically a mind over matter process. Okay. So we also do that in corporates where they have large goals. And sometimes the team, the management team or the leadership thinks, will we be really able to do it? So there is a lot of work done before that. But when you get to the firewalk is when you already have a goal, there's a desired outcome, and you are here, and in between is a fire bed where you're questioning yourself, will I be able to reach there? Is it possible? And walking through that, as you walk over the fire with that intention, everything boils down to your intention. Energy flows by intention, you know, uh, intention goes. So as you walk with that, you're really saying, if I could walk through this fire effortlessly, easily, then I'm able to overcome anything in my life. So what feels very far-fetched, I can achieve. Apart from that, firework has been used in ancient traditions. India, there is a lot of places firework is used outside temples for creating meta shifts, for accessing the divine energy. You work on the shamanic processes. So fire is something that brings you warmth as well, or it can burn you. So now that fire, let me put it inside. That fire is the passion within you.
Hmm.
How do you work with that passion? And fire can burn you, or create warmth, or give you good food. What do you do with that inner fire inside? It becomes very symbolic for you to
Hmm.
work with that inner fire, passion, purpose, and move forward with it.
I
And
love.
we've seen meta shifts. I've seen meta shifts. Is the hugs, the follow-ups where, my God, I thought I couldn't achieve this, and I could. I'm a prime example of it, by the way. Way back. This is way back where I had first walked on the fire. And Snehal, it's interesting you asking this because that is when I had this belief that since I've been very independent and living by myself in those years, I will need a secured job to pay my bills.
Hmm.
This is the same time when all these transitions were going on in my life, internal questioning and stuff. And that firewalk, when I did that firewalk first time as a participant, I thought if I can do this, and something inside a belief system completely broke apart that you don't always need to have a job to provide for you. Prosperity is a state of mind, but one of somewhere I beautifully read, and I believe it's a state of soul. So there's a very deep cellular level shift that happened. I think in few months of that, only that voice had come that quit and start serving and look after things. And then I was like, if this created such a massive shift in my life, you know I want to bring this shift to multiple people in their life and say, anything is possible if you put your heart, mind, and soul to it. You need to take action, but it's possible. that is what had shifted me. And today I am facilitating this. God's been kind, and thank you, God, for this shift that comes through. But yeah, that's what Firewalk really does.
I'm so glad I asked this question because it's the fact that you said that everything does come down to it being symbolic and how
Yeah.
you fuel your fire and what do you let that fire do?
Hmm.
Okay. Like just as you were speaking, and I'm thinking about, okay, when the fire is too high, you do end up burning yourself out as well. And it's the same dialogue that we use every time as well.
Are
That
you burnt
burn
out?
yourself, yeah.
Exactly.
Don't burn yourself out. And then when somebody who is not moving enough or not doing things enough, and we say the same thing that there's no fire, and there's no
True.
fire in the belly, is it lit, and so on. So we have been speaking that language, and I think this again opens up so many doors. So thank you for sharing it,
Can I
Singh.
add a layer?
Yes, yes,
You
please.
just brought up another layer for me. But the third chakra that we have in our body, the chakras are not in the body, but the third chakra, which is your Manipura, okay? The element that works with it is fire.
True.
It's also about power. That have you given your power away? We go back to the Nazar conversation and lack of passion conversation to self confidence. Or are you claiming the power within you and working through this?
Yes, interesting.
This
I love this.
solar plexus, yeah, which is again sun, again, and the color that comes to it is again sun colors,
Yes,
fire,
fire.
you know.
Huh. I think we can continue having these conversations, guys. But today I want to pause and probably bring Shilps in one more time. But what a beautiful conversation, Shilpa. I loved how you have reminded us of the answers we often search for already that are within, and that self-love, healing, and magic are not abstract concepts. Okay, they are everyday choices. And for each one of you who is listening in, guys, if Shilpa's words resonated with you, I encourage you to explore her work through her book, Living with Angels, which we just relaunched, and all her programs are also listed. You can also just follow her journey. Okay, you'll find her links in the show notes, as well as if you just type in her name, you'll anyways find a lot of data there. But yes, once again, guys, thank you for listening into Soul Velocity. And if this episode touched your heart, do share it with someone who needs a reminder of their own light, who just needs a reminder that they are magical. Until next time, remember, the soul already knows the way. Trust it, live it, love it. Thank you.